Welcome to episode 5, the District 32, or D32 we can say.
Oh, that's it.
Podcast, Dean. And thanks for joining us. My name's Kingsley from Tomorrow's Not Today, and in the studio, co-founder of D32, Dean.
Great to be here, Kingsley. Appreciate the invite.
We're going to get Lorraine in here one day.
Oh, very good.
Very keen on getting Lorraine and having a chat because I know she's full of wisdom.
Yeah, she's superb, particularly on the sales and marketing stuff. Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah, very keen to get her in. Yeah. Now today, in the last episode, we were talking about sales strategies, etc. And today is sort of, you're talking a little bit mindset. So it's sort of, we're still talking sales, but it's from a very different perspective. It's more about what's going on in the head to a lot of degree, isn't it?
I'd say I was very fortunate, I suppose, when I started in sales. I was doing door-to-door and no training. The guy in the warehouse used to give some nuggets, and one of the nuggets he shared was, embrace the no's, Dean. And what that means is, we're all looking for positive, yes, I'll take your product or service. And that can backfire on you, because if you continue looking for the yeses, you're going to get more disappointment. As you know from doing sales, if we're all getting yeses every 9 out of 10 times, it would be brilliant. But it's the other way. It could be 1 out of every 10, it could be 1 out of every 20. So for me, what I learned early on is embrace the no's. So what he said to me was, knock on 180 doors, Dean, you'll get 30 sales. So I'm looking for the no's. Yeah, I'll get excited. Yeah, I got a no. I got another no. But what that is doing is it's bringing me closer to a yes. So I always kind of align it to, it's like a deck of cards. You have 4 aces. You need to turn over X amount of cards to find an ace. And sometimes an ace is the first card up. Sometimes it's the middle. Sometimes it's the end. But if you're looking for those no's, it has the opposite, more or less a positive reaction internally in you. I'll tell you a funny story, actually. I was trying to get people motivated in District 2 years ago, and on a Monday morning I said, I'm going to do 100 outbound calls today. So start at 8:30, finished at 5:30. I got my 100 done, and soon my wife comes home. Did you get your 100 calls done? And I was like, I was excited. I got my 100 calls done. And she goes, oh, that's brilliant. How many sales did you get? Oh, I got no sales. But I was excited because it was actually pushing those 100 people one step down the sales funnel. So kind of embracing the no's is great for your mindset as well, because then you're getting a positive reaction. Yeah, I got a no. So think of that deck of cards.
I love that. I was actually listening to a podcast not too long ago, and I can't remember who it was. It may have been Dan Martell, I'm not sure. But he was saying that he changed his whole philosophy to what you're talking about. So he deliberately set out to do whatever he could to get a no. And the more no's he racked up, the more excited he got. And it was a complete shift. But it did what you're talking about. It actually made him really excited. And then when it did come to a sale, and somehow it made it easier for him to sell when he did that.
It's interesting when you have that mindset and someone goes, I'll take your product or service. You're nearly kind of surprised because you're embracing the no's. But it really works just in terms of that mindset. Whereas if you're kind of, I want a yes. Obviously, we all want a yes, but your expectation is a yes. It can wear you down a wee bit because it's more negatives you're going to get. But look at the negative as a step forward. There was a guy when I was doing the door-to-door in Glasgow, and he knew our people because we had the same bags. And he'd, get out of my shop, don't come here. I said, I wasn't coming to sell you, and why here? I'm just wishing you, I hope you're having a great day or any chance of a tea. But after a while, I kind of wore him down, and he goes, oh, come on in for a tea. And eventually he bought. Took me 12 months. But
it's funny. I remember when I first started in real estate and I just got going. It was like, jump on the phone and go and knock on doors. So I spent, I think, 6 weeks. And all I did basically was go and knock on doors, hundreds and hundreds of doors. And I got to this place and just chatting with them, they're like, we'd like to use you to auction our house. And I'm like, oh, how do I fill a form out?
Oh, man, that's brilliant.
All I'd done was focus on knocking on doors for 6 weeks, and I'd never filled one of these forms out. I'd gone through the training. And my biggest fear then was, how do I fill this out so I don't get it wrong?
And I mean, what you're doing there as well is you're building resilience, because if you can do that for X amount of months, you're building resilience, and that's a key part of being good in the sales arena. You need resilience because it is mostly negative. So when I look back on it now, I kind of go, that was a great education. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I look back, what a massive education that was.
So how do you get yourself into that mindset? Because it's not an easy thing to learn that no and, go away as a positive thing. How do you actually get yourself to that place?
Because, well, for me, I kind of think it's a major touch point. If I'm interacting, whether it's the phone or in person, it's a major interaction. It's more familiarity with me as an individual, with my voice, in my product or service. So I just see it as another touch point. So for me, that's the positive from a negative interaction. Okay, well, it's a no today, but maybe it's a yes tomorrow, or an introduction to a family friend or business colleague the following day. So yeah, just see it as a very valuable touch point is the worst case scenario.
So let's say for people that make a lot of cold calls for their business, for what they're doing, is it the same scenario or is it a little bit different? Because there might be a cold call where you're calling somebody, but you may never talk to them again.
I would presume if it's a once-off call, they're in some type of system for the organisation, as in it's not just a cold call and that's the end of it. They're either in some type of nurture sequence or whatever, if it's just a once-off call. So I presume it's not just, do you want my product, and to know and never to hear from again. If that's the case, they're doing it wrong for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Now that's actually a really good point. So either way, however you view it, if you're talking to somebody, they're fitting in somewhere in your nurture system. Because otherwise, that's why you're in touch with them in the first place. So you're going to do something with them down the track.
Exactly. And again, going back to probably a previous conversation, you're going with your gut feeling. What is the next step? Is it a bit more nurturing? Is it I need to ring them next week, next month, wherever the case may be? But go with your gut feeling as well. But have a plan of what's going to happen next. I think the other thing as well with mindset, Kingsley, is people have this perception, I need to have the gift of the gab, be able to sell ice to the Eskimos, which isn't the case with good salespeople. As 80% of it is be yourself, be authentic, know your product or service, and be brave, because you're stepping into a sales arena. It's not easy, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So that's 80% of it. For me, the other 20% is experience by the doing and kind of reviewing your conversations or your approach, what you've said, you'll improve. And that's just experience. But for me, if you kind of keep that in mind, it's just two people having a conversation, and that's all it is. The experience will sharpen your skills. And probably touching on what we spoke about earlier on, the listening is such a key part of that process. If you're not listening with intent, you're not going to pick out the information. I'm sure you've come across salespeople, they're asking questions, they're getting the information, but they're just waiting to deliver their next line on their product or service. They're not really taking on board the information. So the listening it's up there near the top of key ingredients for success in the sales arena.
So those points you just mentioned, every one of them is a skill set that can be developed.
100%.
So when we're talking mindset, you can actually change a lot of your mindset. If this is what I'm hearing from you, you can change your mindset by building your skill set. So 100%. Your skill set of listening to somebody, your skill set of how you're communicating, and a few other points in there.
Yeah. Well, if I said my own experience was started off door-to-door sales, no training. So it was learning everything the hard way, which with hindsight was a great education. So I had to figure out why I wasn't doing so well in the first 6 months. And I would bounce ideas off other people in sales and stuff, because obviously they had a bit more experience than myself. But yeah, you can develop skills. Like, I was rubbish as a salesperson for a good few months when I started, but the skills improved, the confidence, the asking questions, the listening and all that stuff, and keeping an eye out for the buying signals, etc. So that comes with experience and time, but just to be aware of it as well.
I'm glad you mentioned the whole confidence side of things there, because I was actually going to ask about that, because it seems like there's a big correlation between mindset and confidence and skill set. All of those seem to work hand in hand.
Yeah. I think for myself, it was the activity that got the confidence, as in when I started doing the door-to-door sales, like as I said, that the warehouse guy said 180 doors, Dean, we'll give you 30 sales. I never got 30 sales. For the first few months, it was wavering between 10 and 15. But what gave me the confidence was the doing. I was doing the 180 doors. I got some sales. So I was doing something right at a certain level. And over the weeks and months, I was getting closer to that 30. And then I was consistent probably from 6 months on at that 30 plus. But from doing the activity, that gave me the motivation, that gave me the inspiration by just focusing on my job is 180 doors. And that kind of hasn't changed. Like, say, 32 years later, I'm going, okay, I need to do 10 phone calls today. And even if the calls don't go according to plan, that gives me motivation, inspiration. I'm doing it. I'm getting through those 10 calls or whatever those KPIs I've set myself over the week.
It's interesting because when you're doing that, your mindset is not, I need to sell this many people or this much dollars or anything else like that. Yeah. It's a little task that you have complete control over whether you do or don't do.
100%. What's the phrase? Believe in the process. So, I mean, I have bad days, I have bad weeks and sometimes bad months, but I know the process is right because it's worked for so many years. So I believe in the process, and then that can flip overnight. You could have 100 people the following day. Yeah, I'll take your product today. So it kind of levels out over the course of time, providing you're sticking to the process. Obviously, review it because things change, people change, marketplace change, economies change. Just reviewing it, but having confidence in the process, and that comes from you're doing it from the experience over weeks, months, or in my case, years now.
So it sounds like you're talking mindset, which is a big thing, and it can sound a bit woo-woo sometimes as well. But if we boil everything down you're talking about, you're going, have a process that you follow. Yeah. So you know what you do. Have your KPIs, things that you can completely control. Yeah. Number of door knocks, number of phone calls done. Know your product really well so that you can present it and just improve on what you're doing. So every one of those is a skill set and something that we can actually do.
And again, you're touching back, be brave, because nobody's born, I don't think, a natural salesperson. It's a skill you build up over time. So be brave. I'll probably use a tip actually I share as well around the mindset, because we do have bad days, myself included, even after 32 years. So a thing I do is I phone a friend, and they don't necessarily have to be in business, just to feed off their energy. If you've had a really poor morning, whether that's in meetings or on the phone, ring someone who's a positive person. It could be a family, friend, or someone in business, and you just feed off their energy, and it just resets you to push on for the rest of the day or wherever the case may be.
That's really good, because that does come up with all of us.
Yeah,
we all come up with that. It's like, I'm out of here.
What am I doing? Yeah.
But that's a really good point. So have you got any other tips on how to get the mindset, or get when you're in a bit of a slump, what to do? That's a great one.
Yeah, the phone a friend is a big one for me. And I think the other thing is to think, I'm doing this for whatever, months, years. I know what I'm doing. I'm good at what I do. Believe in that process. So, as I said earlier on, you should be reviewing what you're doing regular enough, but the process isn't going to change dramatically. Just believe in your product, believe in your service, believe in the process, and no, it's not you. It's just timing. That ace will turn over soon enough.
That's awesome. Dean, thank you so much for that. I loved all those points.
Oh, cheers.
Because it is a big thing, the whole mindset.
100%.
And we get stuck sometimes. And you've just made it so practical how to be in the best position.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, cheers for the time.
Thank you, Dean.
Cheers.